okay. The world isn't falling apart. I still have my clients. I'm still doing all these things. I think this is okay. I think I can make this happen.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I am so excited to have Jo Harmon here with us today. I cannot wait to share this adventure with you guys. She's currently in Vietnam, but she's been a ton of places. It's been quite a journey, so I'm super excited to have her tell us about that. So Jo, welcome to the show.
Kim, thank you for having me. I mean that sincerely. I feel like I've been kind of in a forest alone I've been looking at, traveling as a therapist and trying to find other like-minded people. And so it's exciting to not only be able to be here, but also to meet you and to be part of the community. It's just, just really nice to be here.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I like to just start off with what took you from being a traditional therapist to a traveling therapist. Can you give us a little information about that?
Yeah.
The big question.
Yeah, it is. It's such a big question. So, and I'll try to be cognizant of the fact that, everyone's not going to be like, pulling up a chair with coffee and staying and having a fire chat with us. But so truthfully, I'm a second career professional. I had a career in real estate. I've had a career in insurance, and I had a career in IT before I came into counseling. And so I think I approached the entire process a little differently than I would have had I been in my 20s. I knew walking in the door, once I got accepted, that I was thinking about the end point. Like where am I going and what am I going to be doing? And I knew that private practice was always what I wanted. I didn't know how to make that happen, though. I have to say that, I don't know if I would be in this situation had COVID not happened. That opened up a tremendous door for me in a couple different ways. I was in the midst of my practicum, or was my internship? I think it was my internship. That happened. I was in internship, I think that January. We went on spring break. And at spring break is when basically the country shut down. And my practicum experience did not have the capability to do remote telehealth. So I had to quickly find a place. And the place that became available happened to be, it wasn't a private practice, but they offered therapy in the community through the ACES grant, through the childhood experiences. And so I don't know, I'm trying to think if they were taking interns before COVID or how I even got it. I'm not even 100% sure, but it turned out to be the best situation. I wound up not only working all the way through that semester because I needed to get additional hours and I had lost some hours. I wound up working the entire summer. So I with a lot more hours, but a ton more experience than a lot of my colleagues did. The supervisor that I had at that experience hired me on in her private practice. I don't think that would have happened had it all kind of just led from one to the other. And I jumped right in after graduating, working directly with clients. And that was really good experience because it's terrifying.
Yeah. Right.
You're in school for 3 years and then it's not really like you touch clients until like really the very end of the program. And kind of like, depending on where you do your internship, sometimes you're actually working directly. Sometimes you're kind of not really working directly. Sometimes you're doing a very rote kind of therapeutic relationship. And, and sometimes you're doing like really doing therapy. And I've been really grateful. I was actually doing therapy.
That's amazing.
All the case noting, and then when I graduated, I was doing everything. I was doing my own marketing, all of it.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
And because it was COVID, I had one client. No, I had two clients that I actually saw face to face at one point, but all my clients were virtual.
Yeah, nice.
And so, yeah, so I kind of started. I mean, I didn't really have to, transition folks who were face to face into online.
Right.
Yeah. And
COVID.
all the clients, yeah, and all the clients that I've gotten since that situation, since that scenario, have all wanted to do online. Every now and again, someone will be like, I really would love to see you face to face. And I say, we talk through that. And like, I can help you with that, and help you find someone, if it comes to that. So, yeah, but most of my clients are women, working women, and love the flexibility of being able to see me, and I've seen clients in all kinds of places.
Well, let's get into that.
From rooms where they were nursing to
Yeah.
offices, their garage, just it's great.
I hear you. So you were finishing up and then COVID, and then it's like, okay, telehealth's a no-brainer. And then what made you make the decision to start traveling then? How did you, because COVID was tough to travel in too. So how did that happen for you? Yeah.
Well, so school finishes and the world shuts down, and it was sort of like, okay, what do I do with myself? And I think I did like what many people did. I baked bread and I I cleaned my house and I Marie Kondoed every drawer and I planted a garden. And I just really just kind of enjoyed myself. And I started thinking about, how do I want to live my life? I realized all that time spent at home, like before that, I was ripping and running from an internship and then to a job and then to this class. And it was just like, once the world shut down, I started thinking, how in the world was I doing all of that? Why was I doing all of that? Is that what I want to be doing? Is there some kind of way to do something else? And, my immediate inner childhood dialogue was like, of course there isn't. No other possibility. Everyone has to run the rat race. Who do you think you are? But the seed was like percolating. I also, when I graduated, I was working as a researcher. One of my internships that I had kind of developed while I was in grad school, I was doing some research in one of the departments, and that position kept going. So I had this kind of gig, that was also providing some money. Nice. And I started doing some grant writing with it, and they had a huge project, and I wound up working a lot of hours, and it was like, this is a lot more money than I had budgeted for and I had planned for. And the holidays were coming up, and I hate the holidays. And I was telling my therapist, like, you know what, my dream has always been to travel during the holidays. I was always like, if I could ever figure out a way to like be out of town during all the chaos and mayhem of the holidays, that would just be wonderful, right? And so here I've got this money, and here I'm like, I really want to go. And I just start talking about it every week in therapy. Like, I really think I'd like to do this. And, and she'd be like, well, where would you go? And I was like, I think I'd like to go here. And it was almost like I couldn't even say it out loud because it was just like so ridiculous to me. Like, who do you think you are? And how are you going to do all of this kind of thing? Wow. And I just basically I used one of my favorite search engines, which is Kayak. And I went in and I said, and they have a thing where you can go in and say how much money you have and where all the places can I go for this amount of money.
Oh, neat. I didn't know that.
And so I put in like $1,000. Where are all the places I could fly to for $1,000? Maybe it was even less than that. I can't remember. Wow. But Spain and Portugal popped up, and I really wanted to go to Portugal, but it was a little more. It's so funny now when I think about it, because I think it was probably like $100 more the ticket. And I convinced myself, no, we'll go to Spain then. We'll just have to.
You just have to sacrifice and go to Spain instead.
Yes, because my mind was so like, you don't even have the right to be doing this, so let alone,
Yes, I get that.
Where you really want to go. And I talked with my supervisor. I was, working private practice, and so working under someone else's license. I had 2 clients who were taking insurance, and everybody else was private pay. And so I talked with her, and she was like, you know what? It's dependent on where your clients are, not where you are.
That's
And
right.
so really thankful that, she was really understanding about that. And because I think that a lot of times what makes this also really difficult is you ask, if you ask, 50 therapists, you're going to get 50 different answers.
No, it's so true. Yep.
And it's because, and I get it. I get, there's just a lot of confusion and it's a lot of different places you have to go, but it makes it really hard. If you're young and you've got like this exciting idea and people are automatically like, I don't know.
Yeah, so, I know.
So I was incredibly grateful for someone who was like, let me go check that. And I'm pretty sure everything's fine. Yeah, you're fine, kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, checked with my insurance and everything was fine with that. And so I just kind of went. I think I can do 2 weeks is what I said, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other thing I did, this was the third string, is I started Airbnb my place.
Oh, nice. Oh, perfect.
So I had been doing it before, but not as intently. And then it was COVID, right? So they really hadn't had much interest, although I was surprised at interest. And so I said, well, if I get a few folks who want to, rent the place on the weekends, that will also help. And lo and behold, I did. I got just a few rentals, but it was enough. It was enough to cover what was happening at home. And I kept saying, well, if it keeps happening, then that means I can keep going. Right?
Oh, I love it.
So I booked a month because I got a discount when you book for a month. So I booked a month and it was like, okay, the world didn't fall apart. My clients are okay. I'm okay. Therapy's okay. It's just kind of like I kept like waiting for something to happen and it didn't. And it was like, okay, I think I can do 1 more month. Okay. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We can do maybe 1 more month. Right.
Yeah.
It was like another month. And then I think I had brought enough medication. I had brought enough of my own meds for like 90 days. No, I think I only brought 6 days because I remember I had to buy meds in Spain.
Oh, wow.
And go to the doctor, which was really fun. And then I was coming back and I don't know because you can only do 90 days in Europe. That's what it was.
Right. Okay.
I was like, I got to get out of here. And I was starting to think about Eastern Europe. And I mean, the Russia stuff must have already started then because I can remember feeling like that may not be the best direction to take.
Mm-hmm.
I was searching around. Morocco opened up. It was the first month that they opened up. I think it was February of 2022, 21, 22, I think. I think it was
22. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was this year. And so I got to go there the very first month they opened up.
Wow.
And it was cheaper because people were like, oh my God, we've been closed for 2 years. Please come. And so I got to stay at like this really amazing place that I would have never stayed at.
Oh my gosh.
And Morocco was incredible, was amazing. And again, it was like, oh, okay, the world isn't falling apart. I still have my clients. I'm still doing all these things. I think this is okay. I think I can make this happen.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of this really kind of crazy. And it felt very much like, I don't know if this is okay. I mean, talk about it in hushed tones. I was like, I don't really know. I've checked all the documentation, and this is but you can't just call to the state and get anyone. Like,
of course, right.
That's not a possibility.
You can't even get them when it's not COVID. So
yes, it's not.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So, okay. So before we hit record, you had said that at some point you were like, okay, wait, I probably need to go back to the United States and just get my stuff in order because I've decided, like, I've given myself the permission. I could see that it works. I've decided. And then what happened? So you went back to the United States and did you sell everything or what did you do?
So this is what happened. So crazy. So I'm in Morocco and Memphis, which is where I'm from, where I'm living. had one of the worst storms that ever came through the city.
Wow. Wow.
And a neighbor who's been keeping an eye on my house and picking up my mail, she calls me and she's like, we lost power and it was freezing. It was like February in Memphis, which surprisingly gets very cold, even though it's in the South. And she said, I don't have any power. They had a small kid. And she's like, I know you're out of the country. Would you mind terribly if we, move? We had a flood. And I was like, absolutely. So she goes up to my place and she calls me like within a couple hours and she said, your house is completely flooded.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I just got goosebumps all over my body.
It was crazy, right?
Oh
It was
my
crazy.
God.
I'm like, in Africa, like, so it's like, I'm hearing the words, but they're not quite penetrating.
Yes.
And she said, we were able to get the water turned off, and we called the fire department, and I'm going to send you pictures. And she said, all I kind of heard was, we're going through the same thing and we'll help you. And I kind of just got off the phone, was just like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so she sends me the picture.
Mm.
I mean, it was hilarious then too, because I couldn't connect to it,
Yes.
and I think probably the shock and the trauma of it all. Got the pictures and like the roof had caved in one part of the house. And I mean, it was just insane.
Gosh.
Insane.
Wow.
So here I am, like trying to figure this all out. Well, I'd never had a loss of any kind, let alone a huge loss. I didn't know what the process was or any of that. Well,
yeah, right.
It's really kind of great. I mean, to have insurance, really fabulous.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Wow.
It was like incredible. I was able to do everything, virtually. I was able to get my plumber to come in and, determine what the issues were and fix all the plumbing and start the insurance process,
Wow.
which was a lot of calling and talking, but I would have had to done that if I were in the States. That would have made no difference. At least I could be like sitting by the pool and making those phone calls as opposed to being in the States. I also didn't have to walk in my house and see it. And I really think a blessing to not have to see like these freshly painted walls that I had just done during COVID and my cabinets that I had put new, I didn't have to like walk into that. Mm-hmm. I just had to see the pictures. And I don't know, that was just like really great. So I knew I had to go back and, just kind of, figure things out. But truly, it really is a process that just kind of happens on its own. It's nothing that you really do. You got to hire people to come in. The insurance company kind of helps you with that, or you kind of do your own searching. And they had to pay me, the insurance company had to pay me to have a place. And I was able to negotiate with them to pay me directly as opposed to paying for a place. And so once I was able to negotiate that, it was like, well, I am certainly not staying in the States while this house gets done. Yeah. I mean, when it happened in March, not only had the whole state taken a huge hit, everything was on back order because of COVID and the supply line. So you couldn't get wood, you couldn't get doors. And I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get back into this house. And as it stands, it probably won't be until the end of the year. Wow. And so I just kind of took that. I had already had these 4 months and I was just like, okay, let's see if we can, do this, let's go a little bit further. And
oh my gosh, I love it.
I'd never been to Southeast Asia. It'd always been on my list. And I knew it was very affordable. And that was a big draw. I know I can go there for 6 months and make this an affordable experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So before we hit record, you were telling me like first stop was Bali. Maybe that wasn't the best choice, or
no.
Can you tell us about it?
So I wish I could even remember how I made the decision to go to Bali. I think it could have been because there was a very active Black in Bali group on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
I think I felt like, if I'm going to go someplace really far away and I don't know anyone, it'd be nice to be able to plug into a community. And that was like a community that I could like plop into. And then I could use it as a base to go to different places. I, of course, have seen all the pictures and read and watched, Eat, Pray, Love. And, but I had no anticipation of it being, I don't know, anything beyond like a really beautiful place and, you know, an exotic place and that kind of thing. But when I got there, it caught me, like in a way that I can't completely describe. In Indonesia, the whole country itself is predominantly Muslim. But inside of Indonesia is this little bitty area of Bali that is all Hindu.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. And so you've got this area of Hinduism, which is very much about freedom and very much about love, you know, self-love, and it's almost like the yoga pillars. And so it's a very different perspective than Islam. And it allows for, you know, a great deal of freedom. It allows for you to have all these people from all over the world come together with very Western perspectives and Eastern perspectives and really merge together quite beautifully. And Bali is a place for everyone. If you are a single and, you know, you want to party, there's fabulous places to do that. If you're a senior and you want to retire, there are fabulous places to do that. If you're a digital nomad, if you're a single mom, I mean, it's just such a great area for all of that. Yeah, I just kind of thought I was going to go for a month, right? You know, find some yoga. You know, yoga's been a part of my practice for 10 years. And I was like, yeah, I want to go try some yoga. I want to definitely do some massage because you can get really affordable massage. And I was like, oh my God, if I could have a massage every single day, like
the dream.
Yes. And you could massage were like $10, some of them. I mean, they were like,
wow,
really nice. Yeah. And so, but when I got there, I really can't even describe it. It's just this beauty. I mean, first of all, everything is lush and beautiful.
Wow.
I mean, everywhere is lush and beautiful. Even the things that grow in the States that also grow there, you're like, oh my God, I've never seen it this big. I've never seen it this green. I've never seen it this colorful. Like everything is like on steroid.
Wow.
And then it also has this old world and new world perspective. So you'll be walking by and then there's this beautiful temple and people are literally praying right there. And then next to it is like, you know, some modern store, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just this nice flow of that.
Wow.
It's, the food is amazing. I mean, there was just nothing not to like about it.
Okay.
And
it's wonderful.
and I found some like really nice little area to live. It was close enough to the, you know, to all the busyness, but far enough away for me to relax. And I met some like really cool women and, you know, and I started doing things I'd never done before. I went scuba diving and,
oh, wow.
You know, and did all these, I mean, it was just like became this incredible adventure.
Wow.
And I stayed far longer than I had anticipated. And when I started like listening to other people talk about, oh yeah, I just came back from Malaysia and I just came back from Thailand. And I would hear them say, but there's nothing like Bali.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, can that truly be? And every week I was like, I get it. I can't imagine any place being this good.
Wow. You're making me want to go right now.
It really is an amazing space. Yeah. It's funny. We talk about how this worked for us. So all my clients knew where I was going. And I'll tell you, I really think it had a tremendous impact on the work that I did with them. You know, it's one thing to a woman who's overworked, who's stressed out, who doesn't have good self-care, for them to see me going someplace. It really, and one of my clients actually came to Bali.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really crazy. We've been working together for months and she does a terribly stressful job. And we've been, you know, working through, why am I here? What do I really want? She quit the job.
Wow.
And had this free time. And she was like, you know what? I really want to come to Bali. And I was like, do it. And so she and her boyfriend, they came to Bali. And and so many of my clients are all talking about, you know, I really want to travel more. They're saying things that they never said before I started doing this. And
I love that. It's like it gives them permission. You're modeling a different way, like the same permission you were struggling with.
Yes.
You can pass that on to other people. Yeah. Yes. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And even just starting to think about their work in a different way. Like, do I have to be at this desk to do this work? Right.
Right.
Can I had a client whose company was paying for her to do some training in the UK. And I said, we started talking, why don't you just stay longer? Right.
Yeah.
And she, oh, I feel bad because, the women who, report to me, they have to go into work. And I was like, oh, so we were able to like work through that. Oh, so you can't have fun because you're afraid that they're not having fun. So now we're mind reading and we're we're doing all of these things, right? All these ways in which we say, oh, wait, no fun for me, not okay for me to have this kind of life. And
Oh, I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, so Bali's amazing. So, but then you left, right?
So
You went to Vietnam, or what happened
so
after that?
so Bali, we were talking about the policies and regulations around licensure and credentialing. Well,
Right.
the policies and regulations around visas, particularly in Southeast Asia, are equally confusing.
Oh,
Because
wow. Interesting.
what happened is during COVID, a lot of expats were kind of caught in these countries. And some of them were like trying to get out, and some of them were trying to stay. And it was really very, very
Wow.
challenging. And I think that was an opportunity for a lot of these countries to kind of revamp and look at their visa policies. And so places where it was really easy to just, hop over to and spend a year if you wanted to, they've really tightened it up. And so in Bali, I was only able to get like a 30-day visa. And every 30 days, I had to go and do what's called a visa run someplace else for at least a day and then come back.
Wow.
When you first start that, you're like, oh, 30 days, 30 days. Well, I'm going to tell you, 30 days flies.
I hear you.
Yes. You look up and you're like, oh my God, it's 20 days and I got to get out of here. I got to figure out where I'm going to go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we could initially, when I first got there, because they had just opened up as well, they were only letting you do that for a couple times. But as it went on, you could do that 3 times. And then it was like, oh, you can do it. I mean, every month was something different.
Hey there, Daniel Fava here, and if you don't know me, I am the host of the Private Practice Elevation podcast, where I share online marketing strategies and interviews to help private practice owners attract more clients and scale their businesses. The Private Practice Elevation podcast is part of the PsychCraft network of podcasts, and I'm super excited to be a part of this network alongside Kim and the great work she's doing. If you haven't discovered the Private Practice Elevation podcast, you can find it wherever you listen to your podcast. I'd love for you to join me as we explore topics like building an effective website for your private practice, search engine optimization, content marketing, and copywriting, as well as my conversations with experienced private practice owners about scaling a practice, outsourcing, team leadership, and all things that will help you elevate your business and create the life you love. Be sure to check us out at privatepracticeelevation.com for resources and content to help you in your online marketing journey.
So I had planned to do 6 months. That's what I figured I could get. But I didn't want to do my whole 6 months back to back. I said, I'm going to 4 months and I'm going to travel around and I'm going to come back at the end of the year because there's some special festivals that are going on in Bali.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, so let me go. Right. And I was kind of ready after 4 months. I was like, I'm ready to see some other stuff. And I don't know why I picked these places. I think I have a conversation. Here's what happens. I think I'm at breakfast, I'm talking with someone and they start talking to me about something. And I'm like, well, that sounds really good. Yeah.
I'll go there.
Right? Look, I got a friend who does meditation. They'll help you. Right?
Oh my God, I love it.
Let's do it. Right?
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
I got on. And so I started like researching it and hearing people talk about going, you either go from the south to the north, or you go from the north to the south if you want to do the whole country.
Okay.
And based on the season of the year is kind of how you decide which way to go. And I decided I'll start at the go on down. And so I started at the very tip top, which is close to China. Then started working my way down, and I'm kind of in central Vietnam right now. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what is Vietnam like? How do you like it?
So it's an interesting place. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful country. I mean, just beautiful. I mean, I feel like I've seen some of the UNESCO wonders of the world kind of things here, and they're mind-blowing experiences.
Oh my gosh.
The food is incredible. You have this French infusion because the French colonized Vietnam for over 100 years. And so you
Oh
have this,
wow.
like you have this amazing tradition of bread, but then you also have this like amazing Vietnamese. I mean, it's just this
Ah,
crazy thing fusion of ridiculously delicious food that's also incredibly affordable.
oh my gosh. I'd be in trouble.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Everywhere you go, the food is like amazing. They
Gosh.
do coffee really well if you're a coffee person. They also do tea,
Mhm.
really tea person. Yeah, there have been some amazing things. There's been some really hard pieces here for me.
Oh yeah.
And most of them have to do with my weight. I didn't, I truthfully, I kind of thought it might be based off of my race because I was like, I don't know how many Black people, they will have encountered and how many Africans they would have encountered. That's not been an issue at all,
Mm. Wow.
not at all. But my weight, there is a real, I mean, let me give you an example of some of the things I'm talking about. I'll just
Okay.
be out walking around, bit bopping around, shopping, and people will stop me. People will call me fat. People will touch me.
Oh my
Will
God.
take pictures. Yeah, people will take pictures of me without my permission. Yeah, it's been shocking. I was not expecting it at all. And
Yeah.
when I started in the country up in the north, I thought, it's much more rural. And so I think I felt like, there's lack of exposure and some, that can make some sense. But then even as I moved further down into Hanoi, which is a very large city, it was no different. I don't know if I completely have made sense of it, but I think that some of it
Yeah.
has to do
Uh-huh.
with there's a cultural, particularly for women, and this is true for women everywhere in the world, right? That there are these standards and there's ways in which we get our value and
Right.
our value oftentimes based on how we look. And the
Yeah.
societal standard here is to be very white. As a matter of fact, when white people come and they go to get a suntan, they don't understand that. They can't
Oh
understand what
wow.
thing to darken your skin because every product that you use here has some kind of whitening agent to it.
Wow.
It popularized, that's how they market it. When you leave the airport and you see pictures of models selling things, they don't look Asian.
Wow.
they
That is so
they
interesting.
yeah, and so it's
Gosh.
there's a lot of pressure for women here, and I think this is also a developing country, and so
Mhm.
economically, this is not a place where women are going to getting college degrees and master's degrees and running companies, although there is that, but it's on a much smaller scale. And so if you're a woman without power and you have a husband who can, as I've talked to some women who did my nails, if the mother didn't like me, then they put me out. You don't
Wow.
have that kind of power. You have to use whatever power you have. And so I think that there is that's going on with it.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow. That is,
intellectually,
yeah.
but personally, it's hard. It's really hard. And it's why I've decided to actually cut my trip. I had planned to do 3 months in Vietnam. I was going to do a month in each of the three kind of major territories, Hanoi, Hoi An, and Ho Chi Minh, Saigon City. And I've decided that, yeah, that's more than I can bear.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
just incredible. Oh my goodness.
yeah. It's taken me to do a lot of research around feminist voices in Southeast Asia
Yeah.
and listening to their stories, Vietnamese women who may have gone to the States to study it or left, Vietnam to go study and their experiences of coming back home. and being told to their face, oh, you've gotten so fat, and yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, yeah, by people who are really loving, right? It made me think about race and gender in the States, it's, yeah,
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 gosh, that's
everywhere.
so shocking to me. Like I've never heard that, but in a way, I get it. Like that culture. I mean, it's just the way it is, and that must be
Yeah,
so surprising when you're like so excited, and then all of a sudden it's
yes,
like, wait a second, what is going on here? I'm not even
yes,
sure what this is. Yeah, and then
yes,
putting it all
yes,
together.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
And thank
and
goodness you can leave now, that you've decided this isn't the place that's going to work for you and the way it makes you
yeah,
feel. Yeah. And what you've been subjected to. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. It's a hard decision, because
Yeah.
me, coming from the States as a Black woman, it's like, I don't make any decision based off my race. I don't decide, oh, I'm
Right.
not going to go there because I might be the only Black person. I'm not going to go there because, that's not some place that Black people go. No, that never crosses my
Hmm.
mind. I
Right.
go wherever I go and I do whatever I want to do and however I want to do it. And it's obviously something Black people do because I'm a Black person, I'm doing it, right?
Right.
So I'm here and to feel like I don't want to leave because I don't want kids to point at me, right?
Oh,
Like that's hard for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be needing some
yeah.
work around this.
Well, and I was
That's-
just thinking, because you mentioned a therapist earlier, I was just thinking that, are you able to still stay, have the same therapist, based on all the ridiculous licensure stuff we have to go through? And what do you do for that if you need that support? Like,
yeah,
I'm just curious about that piece.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna be candid. I didn't tell my therapist initially,
Hmm.
like, hey, I'm out of the country because it was like, I don't want to give up my therapist.
I hear
And
you. Yeah. Gosh, it's hard.
yeah, and I think it just like really sucks. I think, and that's another thing that's been interesting is as I've been traveling and meeting other expats, they're in the same situation. And they're like coming to me and they're like, oh my God, you're a therapist. Can you see me? And I'm like, I can't, right? Like, and they're like, being an expat is hard. Like just that experience, that's a really hard experience.
Yeah.
And needing to have someone that you can process that with, but you can't go and talk to your therapist that you've got, years of relationship with is insane. Just because
Yeah.
the fact are here versus my feet are there. Like,
Exactly. It's just the system is so broken that way. I mean, it's just insane. Yeah. Especially situations like this. It's like, okay, I'm having all this stuff come up. I'm in this
yes,
other country. Like, I need the
yes,
support. Right.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I mean, that's really the whole purpose of therapy. I mean, yes, it's working on trauma, but it's also, working on life transitions, right?
Hmm.
You move, you get married, someone dies, all of these things, right? And there is no greater transition than leaving your country.
Yeah.
Extended period of time, right? Learning not only the culture, the language, the food, the rhythm, like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think that's really going to help other people that might be considering going to that part of the world,
yeah,
to get more information. You never hear that part of it,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's different too because I am literally solo. Like I'm not, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a girlfriend that I'm traveling with. I don't have, a boyfriend. I don't have any, it's just me. And I do think it would feel different if I had like this buddy that I could like process things with, or, like, was that a
Hmm.
microaggression? Like, no, no, no. They did the same thing to me. Okay, no, no. So you really only have you
Hmm.
to
Right.
process things with. And so I think it stings more. It's a heavier burden than if I had someone else kind of with me that
Yeah.
else just to distract, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, I don't regret the decision having come,
Hmm.
but it definitely shook me as a single solo traveler.
I
Like,
bet. Yeah.
like I've never felt afraid like of any harm coming to me. I mean, in Bali, I would, I could walk around 2 o'clock at never fear at all. But man, the fear of like a small child pointing at me and laughing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. So you're going to skip the third part you're going to go to and just, are you
Yeah.
going to go back to Bali or are you going to go somewhere else?
I'm thinking I'm heading back, not to the States, but I'm starting to think about so here's my next phase of my life.
Okay.
If it comes to fruition. I'd like to work on a doctorate, and I'd like to do an online doctorate. And I'd love to be able to find a place for the next like 3 to 5 years while I'm working on that doctorate as my hub. And so I've narrowed it down to I think about 3 or 4 places, at least today. I get on Facebook talking about something else, like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. But right now it's Panama, a couple places in Mexico, Playa del Carmen, Merida, I think was one, and a couple, maybe even Mexico City. So Mexico, somewhere in Mexico, Costa Rica, and is it just those 3? Maybe it's just those 3 right now.
Those are pretty good choices.
Yeah, Colombia had been on the list, but I took it off the list because I heard the food. So I don't know. I may have to check it out, but I've not heard great things about food. So, yeah.
Right. Maybe you can just do a year in each place.
Well, I've been thinking I'm probably at least like 3 months in each one.
Yeah.
So right now I'm planning on Playa del Carmen. There's a huge community of Black people, older Black women. And I just feel like right now I just need to be loved up on.
Oh, I bet.
I just need, so I'm going to go there, heal. Yeah. And kind of go from there. So.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Working on your doctorate. Congratulations already on trying to start that. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I have to, get in and get some money and
yeah.
But yeah, that feels, and then finish up my hours. I should be done with my hours by the end of this year, early next year. So that'll be good, and start looking at potentially credentialing. That's a whole other area I haven't even considered. Like, can I do insurance while traveling abroad? I don't even know. Do I just keep going down the path? Oh, okay.
You can call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's
so a couple things I was just thinking while you were talking, like, how do you find places to stay? Are you using Airbnb or
So here's my new strategy. When I went to Spain, I stayed a whole month. I just found a spot and just stuck there. And that did not turn out to be a great idea.
Yeah.
Like what I figured out is I need to drop anchor for at least a few days up to a week. And then I can kind of get a lay of the land, because no matter
smart.
how good the search engines are, I mean, you just can't know until you get there. Yeah. And for me, it's I got to get into a couple cafes. I got to meet some folks. I got to figure it out. Nice. And then the challenge with that though, is that you wind up only being able to get places that are now available in that moment. Right. So that makes it right. Because if I had known 6 months ago, this is the place, I would have booked it 6 months ago. Right.
Right.
Probably got it at a better price and it probably would be available now, kind of thing. But, and I'm trying to think, when I came to Vietnam, yeah, I did that. When I came to Vietnam, I stayed a couple different places. I'll tell you though, what's difficult about that as a therapist, like I have to be grounded, right?
Yes.
And one thing that I did is I moved all my clients into 2 days. And so what's great about that is that it gives me all this rest of the time to myself. But, I still have to do paperwork, right? And I still have to decompress, and I still have to be mentally ready. And so I can't be bopping around week to week. That doesn't work well for me. I need, and so sometimes, even though this might not be the best place where I wanted to stay, just knowing I don't have to mentally think about finding a place for a month is worth it. And then I can figure out the next place for a long time. It's not like I'm only going to be here for a week, and so I got to really stuff it all in, kind of thing.
Yeah, we found that too. It's just too much to try to do week to week places. You
need
more time. Yeah.
No, I know. I don't know what the sweet spot is quite yet.
Yeah.
But good. A month is good. Maybe I could do 2 weeks. I don't know, but I definitely like a month stay. It feels really comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I do a mixture. I do booking.com, which I started doing since being here in Asia. It's not something I'd done when I was in the States, but I like it. I like their feature, their map feature. I can go and say, where's the Four Seasons, right? Because I know that's the prime spot.
Yeah.
I'm not staying at the Four Seasons.
Now that's smart.
But what is around the Four Seasons, right?
I love that. Oh my God.
This is my spot, right? Or sometimes I'm like, okay, where's the nearest Starbucks? Because I know wherever that Starbucks is probably a really good spot. And then I've got the membership levels. Truthfully, I don't know what those even give me as far as benefits, but yeah. I love Airbnb, Airbnb, great. I've done Agoda. I've only done searches on Agoda, but I've never actually booked on Agoda. I'll kayak, but I've never booked, but I do kind of use it as kind of as a search engine. It's something I'd like to get more into because I know there are like all these places for like really cheap hotel rooms and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. Never really looked into it, but
but that sounds like that's working out pretty well. So will you get a hotel, like you'll do a hotel in that area and then decide, okay, maybe I'll just branch out and get like an Airbnb or something like that. Yeah. Okay, I see.
I'll tell you what's really interesting too, like where I'm staying now, which is an amazing place. Like,
wow.
It's an amazing place. So I came here, I stayed for a week at another place and I figured out this is where I want to stay. I'm close to the beach and, kind of close to Central City. And she said, when you come in, come and talk to me. And she said, well, I know you booked for a month. You're in a suite. She said, I have another place, I think would be better since you're staying for a month. And then she brings me up to the penthouse.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah. 2-bedroom, like little apartment with a full kitchen. And I'm right next to the pool. And so I'm like, yeah, this is lovely. I said, how much? And she said, same price, because this will be more comfortable for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I know. And that was on booking.com. So I figured I could maybe do something like that with Airbnb, but I think any place, if the incentive is right and,
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Great strategy. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
And I've done that with Airbnb as well. Like when I went to Spain and I was like the place I really wanted to stay and it was like, man, this is really expensive. And I looked and they didn't have any bookings for the month. And I said, would you give me a deal if I booked it for the whole month, if I booked it for 6 weeks kind of thing? And they were like, we'll give you a little something.
Yeah.
And I'll take it.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Gosh, thank you so much for just sharing all of your experiences with this. It's going to help so many people. It really is. And then just hearing you talk about the permission giving and that mindset and feeling like you couldn't do it and then how you push through that. I think that's just so important for people to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I didn't ask you about that you think people would want to know or you want people to know about this journey?
I was just thinking about like the practicality of seeing clients.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to me, and I've been thinking about this too, like maybe figuring out a way to do a survey with my clients, but to see what their perspective is, based off of my engagement with them, right? And my, just individually asking them, I think that I am much more engaged. I am much more present. I'm able to recharge. I can remember being in the States and after a really heavy week of seeing clients, and even heavy, not because they were going through a lot, but just because it's heavy carrying, stuff. And I can remember feeling like I needed the entire weekend to recover from that. And I don't need that. I don't need that much time to recover. I also think that I used to get far more from the therapy relationship than maybe I should have. In the sense that, I love seeing my clients, right? And it's a highlight for me. but it's not good that it's like the major highlight.
Right.
Like, like, that can lead me to, to see my client longer than the hour, and, responding in between sessions. And now I feel like my life is full, and it's like, I just love my clients. I still love being engaged with them. And I feel like, it's the most incredible work I've ever done in my life. But I'm also like, whew, can't wait till this is over so I can go to the beach.
Yeah. I hear you. That's good. That sounds like a healthy balance.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
good for me, and I love it.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, okay, I know we're wrapping it up, but one more question. So you're 12 hours different, right? From the United States. So
That's another.
what time are you seeing clients? I'm just so curious,
So
how you're.
All my clients at night. So all my clients are evening Central Standard Time clients. Early afternoon, like my earliest I'll take a client is 3:30 p.m. I don't like that, but I'll do it. So that means that's 3:30 a.m. my time.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Most weeks I start at 4:30 or 5:30, but there are some situations where it's like that client, I got to get him in, and it's a 3:30 time slot.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm going 3:30 a.m. till like 9:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Right. But then I'm still off that high, right? So I gotta figure out what to do with all of this. Right. I got to try to find a way to get a nap in. I got to go back to sleep early because I'm seeing them on 2 days. And so that has been tough. That
interesting.
And had I thought about it, realized that I'm not 20 and that I can't.
Yeah. Because I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, I don't think I could do that.
In which I thought I could do that before. Yeah. I've never been able to do it as long as I have. I've just kind of like decided, like, look, Joe, this is enough. Yeah. And when I was in Spain, like I was getting up. Oh, I wasn't getting up. I was staying up. So I would see clients at like midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 a.m., which is okay because I'm a night person. But then when you're done, it was like,
now what? I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Your brain's like wide awake.
Totally. Yeah. So that's another thing to think about,
Oh my gosh.
Can't do it. How long do you want to do that? And, how does that impact? So
interesting. Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I can't wait to follow you in the Traveling Therapist Facebook group. Let us know where you're going and all that stuff.
Yes. And when our travels will bring us together actually in real life.
Oh, I'd love that. I'll be in Costa Rica in February, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. We may have to have the worlds colliding.
Absolutely. Let me know if you're going to be there. I'm just there for a month for the Thriving Therapist Summit that is happening by Megan Dunnell. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's having a summit there at where I can't even think where Nosara, like that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how long will you be there?
Just 9 days. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a quick in and out, but
I may have to make an excuse to get myself over there.
Okay. I'll send you the information. Maybe you can meet us there.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great getting to know you. Thank you so much. If people want to reach out to you, where would they find you?
That's a really great question. I need to work on like my social presence. I really kind of, it's kind of like I just started bopping around and like people are like, well, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I guess email would be good at this point, which is Harmon, HARMON .maryjo, MARYJO @gmail.com. And if we hook up that way, then I can give you all my other connections and stuff. But yeah, I'd love to be in contact, particularly with new clinicians, because I just feel like we were very underserved in the process. And there's a lot that just did not get communicated well. And I feel like many of my colleagues are just kind of floundering, trying to make sense of how to do the next step. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. So reach out to Mary Jo if you're new to this.
Yeah.
Because she was new when she started it. It can be done.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you for doing
journey, and just take care, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Thank you for this platform. You're doing great work. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you loved this episode, please leave a review.